it's Juleann again, here for you, doing some modifications while you're pregnant. Yeah, let's play around with the grounding series. Just to let you know, just some story for myself is that this is my third pregnancy. I've gone through Journey into Power with each and every pregnancy that I've had. And man, I can tell you, super powerful, really grounding for myself, really purposeful, and I'm really glad that I've done it with each and every one. And I can tell you with each pregnancy that I've had, I've played more and more with the practice, and I realize how capable we are as pregnant people, that we are, oh man, our bodies are beautiful and really just strong and able to do so much. So with that said, we're going to play with grounding, show some modifications that you can play around with. And again, play around with it day by day, moment by moment. It may feel completely different. One day you may have a practice that feels like you're not even pregnant, and other days maybe I need to sit and breathe for a few moments, then get back into the pose. All right, so here we go. Grounding. Whew. Is triangle, side facing wide leg forward fold, front facing namaste forward fold, and then twisting triangle. So let's go around with those. So with triangle, most of the times is that you're coming in from downward facing dog after you just did a vinyasa flow after equanimity. So as you're in downward facing dog, I'm going to show you the left side of triangle for right now so you can see me. So here, you step up as wide as you can. Sometimes, depending on how my core is feeling that day, I need to scooch my foot up further. Here with triangle, really ground down. Sometimes I like to use my hand to put it behind my pelvis and my hips to really just help lengthen it out, especially because my low back gets really tight being in third trimester. So using my fists, I can drag it down my sacral area and just help open that up. If you have a block, great opportunity to use that. If this is a bit too intense, you can put your block the outside of your ankle here. You can ground down to lift up. So not a whole lot has changed here as far as your normal practice goes, and then integrating it in with while you're pregnant. If you want to take the next step further, which for me personally, this baby is up in my lungs, especially being in third trimester. For me, I try to take every back bend in the practice possible to allow my whole front side body to open up, and so that I have the opportunity to take a really deep breath in. So if a back bend is possible and in your practice, I like to use my block, and since this is the left side of triangle, I use my left hand and put the block behind my left butt cheek. So as I'm in triangle, I can wiggle it all the way back there and then start to shift up and back so that I can get a full breath in. And that feels really good. All right, I'm gonna come up now. And again, that's just something fun to play with. If you feel comfortable doing that, go for it, play around. I know I've used my bed already, a couch. If I feel a little bit unstable, I'll have my block behind there so that if I tip back, I've got my bed or couch right there to catch me. All right, side facing wide leg forward fold. Here's a few things that you can play around with and experiment with. 2 blocks is really helpful. For my first pregnancy, and you'll have to see how you feel, I noticed with myself, with my first pregnancy and with my third, very different. My blood pressure was really not acclimated to going up and down very quickly. So I get lightheaded and rushed very easily. With this third pregnancy, it's like my body's like, okay, we got this, we know what's going on. Feels very different. So if going down too low is too much for you, use your 2 blocks and you can just stay right here. Keep a long spine. You can still ground down and lift up through your legs to your pelvis. Could maybe come down to your forearms where your head is still slightly elevated, but you're not fully all the way down. If that's not an issue for you today, you could do the full front-facing. You could do the full pose. You could use your peace fingers and grab them around your big toes and go all the way down. I know this is also a really fun time to play with getting upside down. If that was in your practice to start with, for me, yeah, go for it. Play around with it. See what's possible. If doing inversions was not in your practice before becoming pregnant, I'd be really mindful with that. Talk to your physician, as well as maybe just start to lean forward onto your hands to just get light into your feet. We'll also talk more about doing inversion poses, handstands, shoulder stands, and headstands in the rejuvenation section. So for now, we're just going to really focus on the true grounding down poses in this sequence. So we'll play with that further along. So with going down, those are your areas. Some people like to do ninja lunges. For me, sometimes here, I need to use my hands on the ground to make sure that I still have stability here. So you could go from side to side, however that feels good. Another thing that I really like to do here is to kind of do like a goddess squat, where instead of folding forward, I'm really working on keeping my pelvic floor strong and my inner thighs. So again, I have the wide stance, but instead of having my feet parallel or pigeon-toed to the outside edges of my mat, I will do my toes where they're pointed to the corners of the mat. And then I will come down low. And then I'll hug everything up and in into my pelvic floor and to my center line. Could go with your arms out. Sometimes you can just stay right here and hold it. You could take a breath in. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. Could also use your fists again to drag them down your pelvis into your sacral area, and then go wide to just give yourself some more stability. So I'll show you that over here. Got my fists. I'm lunging down. Then I get them right here about my low back, right in those notches basically, or wherever it feels super tight. So I can press and then just start going open up here. Caught my breath. Okay, so you just did the side facing wide leg forward fold. The next thing to do is you rise up to do a front facing namaste forward fold. Here again, I know, a broken record with your blocks. Have your blocks accessible to you at the front of your mat. And here I'll show you the left side of this sequence. So here, the front facing namaste forward fold, most of the times you're going to do the namaste hands, the bind behind your back. Sometimes this is a lot of core and to ground down into your feet. This is too much for the core. So here I can already tell that I'm leaning to a side, and that to me does not feel very grounded. So I need some extra support. Usually here too, I need to do this little wonky shift around to make sure that my belly has some room. So what I like to do is I'll use the opposite hand to help ground myself while I keep the other one bound behind my back. So if my left foot is forward, my left hand is bound. If my right foot is forward, my right hand is bound. And right here I have some support for my core, and I can just breathe. Maybe the bind is too much today, so I'll drop both hands down to press into my blocks and help to press my pelvis back some more. Maybe the blocks aren't needed today, and I can just bring both of my hands straight down. Again, I kind of need to do this little wiggle room to get my belly in a good position. So that's kind of what you are able to play with here. And I'm sure there's lots of other things that you yourself can explore and see how that feels. So next up is twisting triangle. Twisting triangle, that is a closed twist. So if I was to do the twist, I'd be facing this way, and I'd be twisting to the left. The closed twist is because my leg is right here, my belly has nowhere to go. So that is a twist that you really don't want to do. You really have no room to go and explore there. So an option for you to do is you can come down onto your blocks, and the twist, I switch my hands, or actually nope. So I'm coming from front facing namaste forward fold. I can just put my left hand straight out and I can turn my head. I could work on a little bit of twist here where it's only my upper body and that my belly is not moved at all. It's only the thoracic spine and your shoulders that you slightly move. Another great opportunity here is to use your hand and your fist to ground your pelvis so it's stable, and you can turn your head and lift. But again, you're not going to do a full twist right here because you need to make sure that your belly is okay. Sometimes what I like to do too, from the front facing namaste forward fold, is I twist in the opposite direction. So I'll put my right hand out and then I'll just open up this way so I can still feel the opening here, the ground and the lift up, which is completely fine. So right there is the grounding series. After that, you can do the Vinyasa flow, however that feels good for you. And then you go right into igniting, which I already have for the next video. So you can check that out and see the variations there. Again, take whatever you're able to hear in this video onto your own practice, into your mat, into your life, so that you are just able to ready to go and flow with your own breath and just have fun with it. All right, thanks friends.